Hey, Gamer Z, where's your Sierra Era video that you've talked about? Well, I'll tell you, there is none. It's not like I lied to you. It's not like I misleaded you. It's not like I meant to. But, I found this video of Mr. NoobTubeGamer and I completely dropped everything and wanted to make a video. Because he basically dared a rebuttal. He dared me to rebuttal, or he dared me to rebut this, rebut it, so I did. So, what I'm doing now is based off a dare. So, you will see that Sierra Air video very shortly. But please note that I'm going to have to cut a lot of it out because in that video he attacks I don't want to say attacks. He criticizes a YouTuber. And I really don't want to, take that into consideration of my argument. I'm only going to argue ideas. I'm not going to defend people. Yada, yada, yada. On a separate note, thank you all for 50 subscribers. I cannot believe it. I started this channel with a couple friends, I guess, 4 or 5 subs, and just made videos for the fun of it. And then I got back into it and started making rebuttals, and I just got a ton of subscribers. In fact, 32 in the last 28 days. That is insane. Thank you all very much. Sorry for the voice crack, but thank you. That is insane to me that 50 people want to watch my videos. So if you guys want me to do something for a 50 subscriber special, just let me know in the comments of this video. Anyway, let's get to the video and start rebutting it, like he dared me to.
Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. NoobTubeGamer.
Thank you for emphasizing Mr. NoobTubeGamer. I thought it was Mr. NoobTubeGamer. I literally keep typing Mr. NoobTubeGamer. I have no clue why, but I just keep doing it.
Back with yet another video debunking another common argument that PC fanboys like to use against the consoles.
And I'm so excited for your facts. In this video, you actually have articles to back up what you say. But here's the thing, you don't read the articles. You just nitpick. And I'm gonna go over that.
So, last video, I debunked the argument that PC fanboys use all the time, that PC gamers are more skilled than console gamers. I debunked that.
No, you didn't. For the entirety of that 10-minute video that I endured, all you talked about was how because console gamers use a harder method of input to use on FPSs, that they are somehow more skilled than PC gamers. That's not what we mean, okay? When you play against a keyboard and mouse user, alright, you lose all the advantages that you have with auto aim and things like that, so it is harder to win. But if it's harder to win and you don't win, that means you don't have skill. That means you're worse, okay? That means you're garbage. If you switch to keyboard and mouse and started playing, then we could have a fair game, because a keyboard and a mouse versus a console controller, that's not fair, and I admit that. And to be honest, that shouldn't be a determining factor in someone's skill, because people have to be on equal grounds and see who's better. But even then, coming from a console peasant who's only played on console for the past year, you probably forgot how to use a keyboard. Probably not, because it's like riding a bike, and you don't really just forget that. Anyway, you did not debunk that video. Stop tooting your own horn. All you said was because you use a harder method of input that you're better.
A lot of the fanboys didn't like that, as you could see here.
Why do you completely ignore the fact that you just might be wrong? Alright? And that's why people are disliking your videos. It's not like we're trolling you, it's not like we're butthurt. You are legitimately wrong. You are wrong in every single one of your videos. And yes, including how autism isn't really a disease. I kid you not, this guy actually made a video about how autism isn't really a disease.
And then I talked about how PC gaming is not objectively superior to consoles. People need to learn the difference between a fact and an opinion.
You know what? That is great advice. But you should have followed it in that video. You should have followed it. You used exclusives, the subjective ratings and the quality of exclusives as an arguing point for why consoles are superior to PC. Even with PC's objectively higher amount of exclusives. Again, we argue from an objective standpoint. So if we're going to argue exclusives, we argue the amount of exclusives, not how good they are. Because people who play on PC, they're exposed to MMOs, they're exposed to RTSs, and they kind of like that stuff. It's not like that's not real gaming, because that's a no true Scotsman fallacy. It is gaming. It is a type of game that you cannot play on consoles. So when you say that exclusives are better on consoles, therefore you need to get a console, that's subjective. That's completely subjective. That's completely an opinion. Alright, you can back it up with all the critics you want. You can back it up with IGN. You can back it up with Rock, Paper, Scissors or PC Gamer and all these different ratings, GameSpot, etc., Metacritic. But you cannot deny the fact that we have more exclusives objectively. Alright, these aren't subjective fifis.
And I haven't really been making videos too much lately, but these are the latest videos I made. But this video is going to be fun because this video contains irrefutable evidence.
Oh, I suppose since the dictator of misinformation has just told me that this is irrefutable evidence, I suppose I should stop making this video right now. And just, I dropped it. I lost the bet. I'm gonna pussy out. No, I'm gonna refute this. I'm going to pick apart every single thing you say on this video, and I'm going to deny it, and I'm going to provide my side as to why you are wrong. So don't tell me it's irrefutable. Everything you say is irrefutable, and everything you say has been refuted over and over and over again, and you refuse to go over and you refuse to accept it. You think you are right. You always think you're right. You always think that because you use an article, because you pull one statistic out of your ass, that makes you right. And it doesn't.
I dare any of you fanboys to make a response to this because it will prove that you're a complete moron that doesn't know what the facts are.
Or I can make let me bet, okay, this is during the editing of this video. I'm going to bet that this video is going to be, 40 minutes long? Maybe? Anyway, I'm going to make a 40-minute long video explaining why you can't read facts.
And this is going to be one of the biggest arguments PC gamers use. It's that PC gaming is bigger than console gaming. It's a bigger market.
I can guarantee you that nobody uses this as an arguing factor for why the PC in and of itself is objectively superior to consoles. Alright? They do not bring market. They do not bring revenue. That doesn't happen, okay? The only thing we want to say about this is whenever console players say that there's more people on console, therefore you should jump on the bandwagon of terrible graphics and terrible performance. You should just jump on that bandwagon of misinformation. You should do it, whatever. One thing those people need to know is that the PC community is growing, and there's a reason for that. It's because PC is getting better. We use it as a supporting argument for one of our other arguments for why PC is objectively better. We do not use this as the sole argument.
Then console gaming. Well, I'm going to debunk that right here, folks.
Alright, let's get this show on the road then, Mr. NoobTubeGamer. Can't wait to debunk you.
I've been hyping this video up on Twitter for a while. I know a lot of people are looking forward to it.
Gee, I can't imagine why. Perhaps they want to refute you.
So, without further ado, let's begin. So, I'm going to start off with this article. Steam has over 125 million active users, 8.9 million concurrent peak.
In case you don't know what concurrent means in terms of statistics, concurrent means that when you plot all averages of something onto a graph, and there's 3 or more lines that meet at one point or tend to meet at one point, that's what concurrent means. And that's the 8.9 million users on average, because they took a bunch of averages throughout the day, and 8.9 million was the concurrent peak.
That seems pretty impressive, right?
Well, yeah, it does seem pretty impressive.
This is as of February 2015, so I'm sure the amount of users has grown over the past 2 years.
Look at you, using logic. Good for you. Yay!
Sure, definitely has. I'm sure it's even higher right now. That seems very impressive. There are more people, there are more Steam accounts than Xbox Live and PlayStation Plus users.
Now, I hope you didn't combine the two, because that would be just unfair. But do remember that he said this. Do remember that he said there are more Steam accounts than there are Xbox Live accounts or PS4 accounts. Alright? Please keep in mind, because he's going to instantly turn back on this. And by instantly, I mean later in the video, so don't get your hopes up.
For sure. But here's something interesting. Okay, so this article's from February 2015. It's cool. Steam had over 125 million active users, apparently.
So are you saying you don't trust your own fact? You don't trust your own statistic? Come on, man.
But Steam in 2013 had 65 million total users, not even active users, 65 million total users.
Oh my god, no, I can see where this is going. Oh my gosh.
Now, that waves a bit of a red flag with me.
Oh my god, no, he's gonna go into community growth. Oh no.
Because you grow from 65 million total users to 125 million active users in less than a year. That just doesn't sound very realistic to me.
Well, I mean, it shouldn't sound realistic to you. It doesn't. I mean, compared to growing from 1 million to, I don't know, 2 trillion. Of course that's unrealistic, but this is just normal community growth over a span of a year. Yeah, that's 365 days for people to go on the internet and find out if they should switch to PC gaming. I mean, that's reasonable. And who cares what sounds reasonable to you, Mr. NoobTubeGamer? And you're not going to actually do anything with this statistic. You're just going to say, well, you know, it doesn't sound logical to me. It doesn't sound reasonable to me that so many users could grow in just a year. No, okay, you just stop. Okay, you're killing me.
Doesn't sound very realistic at all.
Again, you're not using comparators. You're not using analogies. Why is this unrealistic? You're just looking through a lens and seeing that this number is a little bit bigger than you expected. You're seeing that Steam is growing in popularity in terms of massive users. A ton of users joined in a span of a year. But why? That shouldn't be like a confusing factor to you. That shouldn't be confusing. It shouldn't be unrealistic. It shouldn't be this, because it's statistics. It's numbers, alright? And if the numbers happened, then why are they unrealistic? It's a community growth.
There's something fishy about that, because there's no way you can double your user count, not even double. They're saying more because they have 125 million active users.
So, you're telling me that Valve is lying about the amount of users actually using Steam, even though they tried to narrow it down to just active users. You're saying they're still lying. You're saying they're still being deceptive, when legally they can't lie about numbers. And even if you went to go count every single Steam account, I mean, it would be the same thing. They're not lying about their account stuff. They're not lying about the amount of users. I mean, they would, if they did, then I wouldn't use Steam anymore. They're deceptive. But they don't. They didn't lie about it. I mean, if you could check other sources like Steam charts, you can see and you can count up how many users are actually using Steam right now. Or there's a page on Steam that shows you how many people are online and how many people have been online for all day. I mean, they're not lying about they're not lying about this, okay? You have the worst expectations of Steam, and you fail to bring up any other evidence to support the fact that they're lying, other than the fact that, well, there's no way you can just double your community in less than a year. Well, yeah, there is. There kind of is.
Also, Valve did not specify what it considers active users. It could be someone that hasn't been on Steam for a while. I could be considered an active user, and I don't fucking play games on Steam.
Now, this is a valid argument. This is a very, very valid argument. And it's hard to debunk. However, they didn't come out with their statistics. They didn't come out with what defines an active user. And if they did, that would make their statistics more reliable. I agree. However, you cannot say that, you cannot bring up one example if you're going to theorize. What I theorize? Maybe anybody who spent at least the $5 limit that you need in order to become a full-fledged Steam account, or you've been online in the past 30 days, or things of that nature. I mean, there's ways you can quantify it. There's ways you can theorize how an active user is. You may not be considered an active user, so you shouldn't be saying that. And of course, none of this was facts. I'm not going to say this is a fact or anything. It's just theories.
We'll get into these other articles later, but yeah, that just seems very fishy to me.
Well, yes, with Steam not defining what an active user is, it could, potentially, be misleading. However, you need to also think of the fact that they tried to narrow it down. Okay? That's what they did. They tried to narrow it down because they knew that every single Steam account on there wasn't going to be active all the time. It could be a false troll Steam account. It could be a Steam account that plays only 1 or 2 games. So maybe it goes off of if you have, say, 20 games in your library, or if you've paid a certain amount of money on Steam, or if you've been online in the past 30 days. Again, there are different ways to quantify active users. However, just because they didn't come out with it doesn't mean they're lying about their numbers. In fact, this number, 125 million, could be higher, could be lower. The 8.9 million concurrent peak, though, that's kind of the same. That's going to be the same throughout. You could put different averages in, and it could sway a little bit left and right, but it's still going to be practically the same.
Very, very, very fishy. Also, consider the fact that making a Steam account is free. Anyone can make multiple Steam accounts without an issue.
But I'm not sure that spam account would be flagged as an active user. Again, Steam did their research. They tried to narrow it down, so I'm sure they accounted for spam accounts. And regarding how the implication that making an Xbox Live account and a PS4 account is paid for, well, no, I have an Xbox Live account. I just don't pay for the subscription. I can't play online. I have a Microsoft account. I can use that as an Xbox Live account. Hell, I'll pull it up right now. Now, as you can probably see, I'm not too active on my Xbox account. And please consider, please note, and please realize, I've never paid for an Xbox 360 or an Xbox One account. I haven't owned either of the systems and had no reason to ever pay for an account. Pay for a subscription, I mean. So, all I did was make an account. I just made an account, and I have 80 gamer points, or 80 whatever that shit is. I can buy whatever and do what, I don't know. I've got a friend, Epic Mickey 69. I've got no friends or clubs. I've got a bio. Apparently I have a follower. I mean, basic stuff. I think I have achievements too. As you can see, there's an achievements tab, there's an activity feed, there's following, there's captures. I can do captures. And by the way, this is all on my Windows. This is all on my PC. But yeah, I have an Xbox account. As you can see at the top, it says Xbox. It is the Xbox app of Windows. I mean, I have an Xbox account. I don't need to pay anything for it. I hope this proves the point that if I wanted to, I can make another Xbox account and not use it. And then I can make another one, and then another one, and then another one. Same thing with PlayStation Plus. I don't need to pay for that account, but I do need to pay a subscription for that account if I need to play online. So for example, I have to make the account first, and then make payments on that account if I wanted to play online or receive the free games. Again, it's not, it's not paid anything. You don't have to pay anything to make a PlayStation account or an Xbox account. What you do need to pay for is the subscription to put on that account, because you need to make the account prior. Please note, you need to make the account before you pay for an account. Alright? You make the account, then you pay for it.
Xbox Live and PlayStation Plus are paid services.
But again, making accounts aren't, so that made what you said prior to this very, very inaccurate.
So, if PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live were free services, you bet your ass that they would blow Steam out of the water in terms of active users.
That makes no sense. If Xbox Live and PS Plus was actually free, that would give you an arguing point for the consoles. That would say, hey, we have free online for $300 on a week's console. If you want the console experience, just please note we have free online now, so that's a reason to get a console. I mean, if they made multiplayer free, then that would be more of a reason to get a console, right? But, again, as it stands, you're paying for multiplayer. You're paying for these free games. You're paying a subscription every month, or every year, or whatever plan you choose to buy, or whatever. Of course, going back to your point, I'm not sure how making these services free would blow Steam out of the water in terms of active users. Again, active users has not been defined by Valve, okay? So I still don't get what you meant by this quote, so I'll just continue then and skim over this shit.
But anyway, that just seems very suspicious to me. In less than a year, you gained 65 million people. Doesn't seem very accurate at all.
Again, nobody cares what a lying scumbag like you who edits screenshots thinks is accurate.
But let's move on to this. This is another article. Don't look now, but the PC is the world's biggest gaming platform. And this is the biggest evidence people use. I don't know how many people have sent me this fucking article. Or not sent me this article, but have told me that PC gaming is the world's biggest gaming platform. Well, interesting. Don't look now, but the PC is the world's biggest gaming platform. But it's free to play and social gaming that's driving the most revenue.
Please, okay, guys, let me know in the comments section of this video if you think that Mr. NoobTubeGamer's attitude, his condescending, sly, sniggering attitude, is irritating at all to you, okay? I can't stand the fact that he looks at something, he looks at a heading of an article, he looks at the title, and then looks at the subheading of the article, and then thinks he's, like, got a gotcha moment. I mean, he actually thinks he got us, alright? He thinks, like, even with it's just free to play and MMOs that are driving the most revenue, it's still driving better revenue. It's still the biggest market. Just because there's bigger, there's other genres of games that are driving the market, it's still a bigger market than consoles. This doesn't disprove that. This just makes you an idiot.
So, if you play Candy Crush, you're a PC gamer. If you're talking about these statistics.
Now, I could be wrong, but last time I checked, Candy Crush is not on the PC. Sure, it can be emulated. Sure, it could be, I don't know, made. There could be a fan version or something. I don't know. Hell if I know. But last time I checked, Candy Crush is not on the PC. And so what? So what if you play Candy Crush and you're on the PC? Who gives a shit? I mean, this shouldn't matter. Still, the PC gaming market is still bigger than the console gaming market.
So, how many people do we know that play Candy Crush? How many people do we know that play all these other Facebook games? That's considered part of the PC gaming revenue, and people might be like, well, it doesn't account for most of it. Well, it actually accounts for let's see here. It accounts for 25% of the total revenue haul. $8 billion of the $32 billion that PC gaming made in 2015, $8 billion of that alone, which is 25%, was social gaming. Meaning social network-based gaming, like Facebook games, like your stupid little games that you always play on your web browser. Would you really count that as PC gaming?
Who are you to say that free-to-play gaming or social network-based gaming isn't really gaming? Who the fuck are you again? You're Mr. NoobTubeGamer. You're the idiot that edited out a screenshot in a CinemaBlend article back in, 2013, 2014, 2015? I don't remember when. You edited a screenshot, edited out relevant information like the date and the amount of comments. You went and you lied about Steam's cross-game chat, alright? Again, who are you to say what PC gaming is and isn't, alright? If you play a video game, on a PC, you are then considered a PC gamer. Doesn't matter what game it is. It could be Candy Crush, it could be Angry Birds, it could be Yoville on Facebook if that's still a thing. I mean, there's a lot of different possibilities. And MMOs and social network-based gaming, that's one of them. Social network-based gaming and MMO gaming, 8 billion and 7 billion, or 17 billion respectively, I think it was, or million, whatever. That's still a lot of money they generated. Again, the market is still bigger than the console gaming market, isn't it? If it generates more revenue, doesn't matter how, if it generates more revenue, then it is, in fact, a big market, right?
I wouldn't.
Of course you wouldn't. You're a console peasant who plays nothing more than Call of Duty on the console.
Hold on. So there's that. And plus, okay, so even with $8 billion, it's still a pretty big market, right? Well, half of all PC gaming revenues comes from free-to-play MMOs.
What are you saying?
Free-to-play. And I'm sure most gamers can agree that free-to-play gaming is cancer because it's free-to-play, that's great, but you wind up spending a lot more than the full price of an actual $60 game because of all the microtransactions and the pay-to-win and all the other shit.
So you're telling me that a business practice and a genre of gaming, free-to-play, is cancer because they try to make you pay for a game they don't charge for, okay? And again, this isn't a game you have to play, but it's a game that a lot of people do play, or a genre that a lot of people do play. MMOs are a huge market on gaming, on PC gaming. Why? Because it's actually fun, and console gamers wouldn't know fun if it hit them in the face. Alright, you guys have only been exposed to FPSs and TPSs and violent shooters and whatever. But if you take into consideration perhaps the potential fun of a free-to-play MMO like Dota or League of Legends, that you might actually have some fun. But you're closed-minded, and you think that this kind of gaming is cancerous because it's a genre of gaming and a business practice you don't agree with. While yes, they do make games pay to win. They make free-to-play games pay to win because, of course, they want money for a game they charge nothing for. But again, that doesn't define the PC gaming community. And still, it still makes $17 billion every year, or at least in 2015. So it's still there, it still made its money. What are you going to do, subtract it from the value? Subtract it from the total revenue made for a year in 2015 because you don't agree with the genre of gaming and you don't think that it's real gaming and you should only quantify real gaming statistics? Because, you know, real gaming, right? There's so much, you've defined real gaming, it's free to play, it's games basically you can play on a console. That is real gaming. But other gaming, it's, that's just cheesy nonsense weirdo games, as Crap Gamer would say.
Games like League of Legends makes the most money in PC, accounts for most of the money in PC gaming because of the free-to-play MMOs. If all these free-to-play MMOs were on consoles,
which, for the record, I do hope happens, and it's not just for the revenue that it could possibly make on consoles. It's also for the fact that people can stop saying that PC games are just MMOs and they're just cheesy and they're not good games and they don't have good exclusives. Because if you were able to play the games we are able to, like if your console could support it with, you know, good controls and good mechanics, nice performance, if you guys could play those games, then you would know, you'd be open to the other genres of gaming that you guys claim to hate for no reason. I mean, excuse me, have you played Star Citizen? Have you played Sid Meier's Civilization? You haven't, have you? But those are fun games. I mean, in the eyes of a PC gamer, those are great games to play. I mean, you shouldn't be stuck to just one genre of gaming and call that just gaming or real gaming.
by these statistics, consoles would blow PC out of the fucking water.
That is, if you guys buy that kind of game. Again, you have to be interested in those games to buy it. Or in terms of free to play, you'd have to, be interested to play it, period.
Completely. So there's that too. So when you take all that away, so it's $32 billion. You take away minus 17, minus 8.
What did I say? What did I fucking say? He's trying to minus, or rather subtract, from the annual statistic of 2015, the revenue. He's trying to remove that from the equation and say, well, in terms of real gaming, you've only made this much, and that means the console is better in ways. Fuck you, man. Like, you're actually trying to modify statistics, just like how you modified a screenshot back in, 2005 in a Cinema Blend article. This is just like you. This is just like you, NoobTube. Whether you like it or not, in any genre of gaming, in all of these statistics that you make, in this previous statistic right here, the PC made more money than consoles did. Period. Don't try to change that. Don't try to alter it, because that makes you disingenuous.
That's $7 billion. PC gaming, actual gaming.
Again, with the actual gaming. It's not actual gaming, it's gaming, period. You play video games.
Only generated $7 billion.
Yeah, that's after you modified the statistic and nitpicked to suit your own agenda and your own argument.
Which was a lot less than what console gaming generates every year. For sure.
Are you sure? Are you positive, Mr. NoobTube? Are you sure? You gotta pull a statistic, man.
So, there you have it with that.
Yep. That's where you have it. You made more revenue, objectively. You made more revenue than console gamers, obviously. But right after you take away the 17 billion from the most played genre in PC gaming, and then you take another 8 billion away from social media gaming and whatever, then it's less. Yeah, you subtracted values in the statistic. Fuck you. Nobody can take you seriously, and that's why.
And now I'm going to move on to my next example, Battlefield 1 statistics.
Oh boy.
These are the concurrent players online right now.
That does not say concurrent players online. That says current players online. Concurrent and current are two very, very different things. Obviously, you don't know that.
PC, 67,936 PC players. In case you haven't already been convinced that there are far more people that play console games than PC games,
See, this is why you don't know anything about anything, alright? You don't know how to do research. Maybe you should stop trying. See, when you go to Battlefield 1 statistics, that means you are checking the statistics of the amount of players playing Battlefield 1 right now, okay? If you go to any other site, like I did in a previous video about CSGO, there are 260,000 people that play CSGO, and I don't see 260,000 people playing BF1. While yes, combining the two console communities would sure serve an advantage, that's not the point here. The point is, there's a lot of people that play on PC, yet it is very hard to quantify.
We're talking about real games, not fucking Candy Crush.
Apparently, Candy Crush isn't really a video game. It is not a virtual experience you have on an electronic device. That's not what it is. They've been lying to us this entire time. Again, what makes a real game? What makes a real gamer? What makes a real, game? Is it just the games you can play on console? Because, again, those aren't real games. They're just games you're restricted to on a platform, which you really shouldn't be. If you were able to play XCOM, if you were able to play Brothers in Arms, if you were able to play Company of Heroes or Civilization or any MOBA or RPG or MMO, you would not be saying this if you were able to play those games. Of course, you don't have to like every single game on the market, though games are games. You cannot pull this no true Scotsman fallacy to prove your point, because that's all you do.
We're talking about Battlefield 1, which is one of the best-selling games of 2016.
Okay, Mr. NoobTubeGamer, I'll take you up on that. I'll look at the best-selling games on PC and compare it to the numbers that you've provided on BF1statistics.com. First up is Minecraft with 25 million copies sold. Alright, this was by Mojang and it's a sandbox survival game. Now I know you've heard of this and you might not be too interested in this, and that's fair enough, not everyone is. Let's move down the list though. World of Warcraft is an MMORPG by Blizzard Entertainment that sold 14 million total copies. Diablo 3 with 12 million total copies, and that's an action RPG hack and slash crawl by Blizzard Entertainment. Counter-Strike with 12.5 million copies sold. Again, this is probably the most popular FPS of all time on PC. It's by Valve. The Sims, 11.24 million copies sold. It's a simulation game. StarCraft is a real-time strategy game, and it's a space simulator. It's 11 million copies sold by Blizzard Entertainment. Garry's Mod with at least 10 million copies sold on Steam. This is a sandbox by Facepunch Studios, and it's got a ton of different other games in it. I'm sensing a trend here. Now, of course, I can go on and on and on and on and on. For example, a first-person shooter, a horror game, Half-Life 2, sold 9.4 million Steam releases. That was also by Valve. See, there's a lot of trends developing here, okay? There are a lot of different genres of games that people love to play on the PC. So let's just say, for the realness of games, that 12.5 million people play on PC. Just theoretically. I know that's not true. But theoretically, let's say that. That completely destroys the 440,000 or so that play BF1, which instantly cripples your statistic. So, I mean, I don't know how far you want to go with this, but I can keep going all day. But go on. I kind of want to see what other sources you have to pull out of your ass to make a point.
And it's a recent game, so it's very relevant to this video. So,
oh, real and relevant? Okay, I can play that game too. GTA 5, released in 2015, has just passed the 2 million sold mark on PC, according to an article, which I'll link in the description, published on May 1st, 2015. So obviously that number has grown a lot more. Let's see how much we can do. Come on, keep putting filters.
let's take a look here. Battlefield 1. Currently online players, PC has 67,936 players.
By the way, viewers, please keep in mind the previous information.
Which isn't a bad number by any means, but the Xbox One alone has over double the amount of players. The Xbox One alone.
You say over half, which means over 50%. Well, I doubted you like any normal human being would and did the math. It is actually 45%. That is not over half percent. Please do your math next time.
151,849.
Again, that's 45%. That is not over 50.
And PS4 has 223,035
Come on, I believe in you.
players.
Attaboy.
Which brings a total of 442,820. Let's do a little math, people.
Oh, now you want to do some math. Okay.
Let's do some math. If the fucking thing will open.
Don't hurt yourself.
I guess it won't. I was going to open the calculator to calculate the percentage of people that are playing on PC to the overall total player base. But we can see that it's a pretty small number compared to console players.
Well, yeah, if you're going to generalize it, sure.
PS4 alone accounts for half of all Battlefield 1 players. PS4 alone.
Attaboy. 50.36%, to be exact.
And you can't even say, well, Battlefield's, a game that, not a lot of people play on PC. Battlefield's one of the most successful games on PC.
Actually, no, that would be Counter-Strike Go.
If we were talking about Call of Duty, people would say, well, PC gamers aren't interested in Call of Duty. It's a different market.
Which, yeah, on a mouse and keyboard, that game is hella easy. Nobody wants to play a hella easy game.
Blah, 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 blah. Fine, you can make that case.
Yeah, but for some reason, you can't do it with Battlefield, because Battlefield's special.
Because finding a server on PC you'd be luckier to find a needle in a haystack than finding a PC server on Call of Duty games.
There are a couple things wrong with this statement. First of all, of course, nobody plays Call of Duty on the PC. It could be as high as 5,000, it could be as low as 500. But, again, that's very minuscule, and it's a very bad example of PC gaming. We have just better games to play. And that's the second thing. We don't give a shit about not playing Call of Duty, really. I mean, there are better games than Call of Duty on the PC. It might be the best game on your market because you've only been experiencing that game on the console. But on the PC, there's a ton of different games. For example, CSGO, there's Battlefield, there's the other Battlefield games, not just this one. And the third one is, why would someone buy another Call of Duty game if it's going to be practically the exact same one? That's why you see a lot more people playing World at War and the first couple Call of Duties. Well, that's because they're the same thing practically. Why would you buy another game that was practically the same as the last one for $60 or $45, however much it may be? I mean, that's just not something PC gamers are into. They don't see the next title and say, we gotta have it, we gotta have it. That's a console peasant mentality. That's not something you'll find on the PC. We're interested in new, fresh titles, okay? That's what we're interested to. Unless we're playing, a classic FPS like CSGO, but other than that, we like fresh titles.
It just doesn't exist.
I revoke your rights to use hyperboles because they come off as misinformation, especially when you say it.
A lot of people, most PC gamers don't play Call of Duty games, and it's one of the biggest franchises of all time. But anyway.
Again, biggest franchises on the console because you haven't played a better game. I mean, you just haven't. I mean, Call of Duty, first of all, is easy as shit to run on a console, so you'll be getting 60 FPS on many of them. However, Battlefield is a bigger game, right? And it needs a lot more performance and needs a lot more graphical fidelity. So you'll probably be running that game at 30 FPS and probably avoid it either because of its complexity or because of its terrible fucking performance on the console. But still, I mean, you might as well compare the amount of Battlefield 1 players on the console with the amount of Candy Crush players on the PC. Again, not very popular, and it's not very accurate, and it's not very ingenuous to say, or honest, and it doesn't prove your point.
But Battlefield is a very, very, very PC-friendly game series.
Yeah, like you know jack shit about the PC in a year you haven't played it. Right, Okay, first of all, just because it's PC-friendly doesn't force everyone to play it. Again, that's not a console mentality we have on the PC. Just because we can play it doesn't mean we do. We would rather perhaps play Diablo 3 or Doom 3 or CSGO or World of Warcraft or something. Again, we have more genres than we know what to do with on the PC. We have space simulators, we have sandboxes, we have other simulators. I mean, we can play different games. We don't have to be restricted to just FPSs. But in terms of FPSs, we could say that Battlefield 1 and CSGO are really up there on the PC market. However, again, that doesn't mean everybody plays it.
PC gamers love Battlefield, so what does that say?
I hope you don't mean that. That is completely flawed logic, using a stereotype to back up your own claim. That's kind of like saying console peasants just spread misinformation all day, so why do we have to trust anything NoobTubeGamer has to say? Of course, that wasn't backed up by anything, by any means at all. But, again, you shouldn't use any of this to support a claim or support some evidence as evidence, alright? You have to back up your claims with evidence, with tangible, provable, researchable evidence, something that can be cited, something that can be referred back to if necessary.
The currently online players, it's only a fraction.
Well, you didn't even answer your flawed question, so, I mean, whatever.
But let's look at Battlefield 4.
He obviously wasn't prepared for this. Watch this.
Battlefield 4. It's a much older game.
Just from 2013. It's actually not that old. It's only 4 years old.
And it still has much more players on... Well, it has about the same amount of players on PS4 and PC. And about a few less on the Xbox One than PC. But look, even old gen is comparable to the PC numbers.
Well, according to someone who only believes in facts, Mr. NoobTubeGamer, that looks like a lower quantity than the PC, right? Well, the PS4 is only 1,000 more, and the PS3 is only 1,000 less. Wouldn't you say that the PC wins over the PS3, and the PS4 would, well, win over the PC? But again, we're not comparing Battlefield numbers, okay? We're comparing the entire market as a whole, and by far I think I've been winning this argument. Now, this isn't to toot my own horn or anything, but all you've been doing this entire video is supporting faulty claims with faulty supporting evidence. And, I mean, you just took 5 articles off the internet and compiled them into a video, and you were caught off guard by this one statistic that is winning over many of the different consoles. That said, that shows how much you know when you make videos about research and data.
That's pretty interesting. But we're not talking about that anymore. Let's talk about my final thing, and this is something I've said countless times, but people have tried to delegitimize my claim by saying, oh, it's an old article, you edited the article without providing any evidence that I did any such thing.
Right now, if you go right now to his channel and find the How to Win a PC versus Console Debate Every Single Time video, at the end of the video, he provides this Cinema Blend article, which if you look under the title, is supposed to have a date, and the amount of comments, and the fact that the comments are locked, and things of that nature. If you go to the actual article and compare it with his video, that information is completely gone. It's removed. That's proof enough that you've edited the article, and you used it in your video as proof. You are a liar. You are deceptive, and I hope nobody ever forgets that. Especially my viewers here, please don't ever forget that he tried to edit out a screenshot. He edited out relevant information from a screenshot, including the date of which the article was posted, which was before the next-gen consoles were even released. So, I mean, Rags has pointed it out. Bullet Berry's pointed it out. I'm pointing it out. Why the fuck aren't you? Why aren't you admitting to that?
But regardless.
Yeah, let's skip over that deceptive little shit trick I pulled about a year ago.
Countless times, time after time after time, the same statistics come out. Shows a common trend that most PC gamers do not have very powerful PCs, and this backs up the claims that I've made before.
You've actually mentioned nothing about the power and performance of the PC in your previous claims.
The evidence I've used before, that we have a lot of people that play on PC, a lot of people that play Steam, but most of these people, a good chunk of those people, don't even have the capable hardware of running modern games.
Dude, you provided 60,000 people who are playing Battlefield 1 right now. Well, when you made the video. That is 60,000 people that can run Battlefield 1, which you yourself claimed is a modern game. Okay? There are 2 million people that bought GTA 5. Let's say 1 million of them. 50% of them can run that game. That's still 1 million people that can run GTA 5, which, again, is a game made in 2015 that would be considered a modern game, right? Diablo 3, Doom 3, those are all best-selling games with millions of people buying them. Over 1 million, in fact. So, those people can run those games. I mean, you're trying to pull shit out of your ass left and right. Don't even try that. Alright? You need to build some statistics. And this one right here, I'm going to go through this article right after I narrate this, right after I press space and click out and do all this. I'm going to go through this article and see what you missed, because I'm sure there's a lot.
So you can argue PC gaming is a bigger market, and if you just talk raw numbers, you're correct.
Wow. That's a surprise.
You're absolutely correct. But raw numbers do not tell the entire story.
Just like the statistic of how 3% of gamers, according to 2015, choose to play their games at 4K. Or was it 5%? Either way, that doesn't tell the whole story either, because many people prefer to play at 1080p or 1440p without all the input lag of 4K, especially since they don't want to have to pay for a 4K monitor.
They don't at all. Just like how, according to raw numbers, there is a gender wage gap, but we all know That's bullshit.
Oh my god, don't even bring that shit up.
I think I've proven extensively that the whole idea that PC gaming is a bigger market than console gaming to be bullshit.
No, not even a tidbit of this information was proven. Not even a tidbit of your evidence was supported by any of your claims. I went in and I went through and rebutted every single one. Every single one was arguable. And that's not okay. Whenever you're making evidence, whenever you're taking evidence to prove a point, they shouldn't be arguable. They should be flat out numbers. I mean, every single thing you provided here was either shady or really, really questionable. And I brought those questions to the table with you because you obviously didn't consider them. You have not proven anything extensively, let alone bare minimally, if that's even a word. You can't even prove something to the barest extent of perhaps being doubtfully right. I mean, this hasn't even gone as far as to touch the surface. You're still hanging by your neck on the ceiling, not even touching the floor.
And of course, I'll link all the articles that I used in this video, and I'll link even more articles in case you're still not convinced and you're still in your delusional little bubble. And I dare anybody to make a video response to this because you look like an idiot responding to the truth, to the facts.
I did take you up on that dare, and to the viewers, comment down below, do I look like an idiot when I rebut this guy with all of his facts, with his irrefutable evidence? I mean, it's pretty irrefutable, right? I mean, you gotta admit, he's got us there, providing Battlefield 1 statistics and little tidbits of other data. For example, how free-to-play and MMO is crushing the console market. Those two genres alone, mind you. I mean, he just totally subtracted that from the revenue, and just we make 8 million now because that's the number he came up with today, because you can just subtract numbers, right? Again, that's not how it works, Mr. NoobTubeGamer. That's not how it works. Again, all of your proof was completely refutable. All of it was completely flawed. All of it was completely wrong. I mean, you can't take anything into context. You need to stop.
It's not like I'm talking out of my asshole. I provided at least 5 different sources to back up my claims.
Yeah, there's at least 1,000 different studies that show how vaccines don't cause autism, but there's those 5 that say they do. You just took those 5 and used them in a video as proof. Exactly. That's exactly what you did. You took those 5 that suited your argument, you nitpicked these 5 articles, and they're not all articles, they're all just, Especially the BF1 counter, that was bullshit, and then the BF4 counter, that was also bullshit. Shouldn't have ever been used in this discussion at all. It makes no sense why you would use just one game instead of calculating the entire, the broader sense of the gaming community and saying that, I'm gonna ignore these, cheesy games that PC gamers usually play to give my argument a leg to stand on, because that's all you can do. You can't use actual facts. You cannot use actual debatable facts, because everything here was just refuted in one simple video. Mostly just in a statement.
So, there you go. I assume the like to dislike ratio is going to be pretty bad because people just don't like the truth. People hate the truth. They hate the facts.
No, you just don't know how the facts are told, and you misrepresent the facts. That's why people dislike your content.
Look, if you like PC gaming over console gaming, whatever. But if you're trying to make up facts, you're trying to claim your opinion as facts.
Like you?
And using raw numbers instead of getting the whole story.
Again, like you? You used one franchise, one Battlefield franchise, to show that more people play one franchise on a platform than they do on the PC. Again, if you looked at CSGO, if you looked at World of Warcraft, if you looked at Minecraft, if you looked at any other best-selling game on PC 2016, you would see that that's not true, alright? There are other best-selling games on PC, doesn't have to be Battlefield, and a lot more people play CSGO than they do Battlefield.
You're not a real game analyst. You don't know anything about the gaming industry.
Okay, Mr. NoobTubeGamer, this is why you don't live in a shell, okay? This is why you don't try to skew away from criticism, because it never helps anybody. This is what I try to do. I try to get criticized. I want to be criticized so I can improve. But you completely ignore criticism. You completely ignore facts. You completely ignore everything anyone else has to say because you're too busy protecting my feelings and my content is totally better than your content. I mean, you make really, really shitty videos, Mr. NoobTubeGamer. All of your claims in all of your videos are supported by faulty evidence and completely irrelevant facts. Alright? You say you're all about the facts, but you provide nothing but lies, misinformation, outdated, irrelevant facts, or just facts that you cannot show to be relevant.
I do.
Oh, I want Mr. NoobTubeGamer to watch through this entire video.
So, with that said, I'm gonna end the video here. I'm looking into taking a break from making videos on PC fanboys and PC gaming in general because it's literally beating a dead horse at this point. I've made so many videos debunking PC fanboys.
Yeah, debunking them. That includes trolling your friend on his Steam account and changing up his shit.
And how idiotic they are. If you want, I can move on to other fanboys. I have no problem going after your JTech TVs and your crap gamers.
Seriously, I think you're at the bottom of the chain. I honestly think Next Gen 720 would stomp on your bitch ass.
Because I'm nothing like them, and they're idiots too.
I'm confused. The way you said that made you include yourself as an idiot, because, you know, grammar. Anyway, you're nothing like them. You're nothing like a lying little piece of shit guy on the internet, little console fanboy. Really? You're nothing like them?
But as of now, I feel like I've debunked this bullshit.
All hail the god of misinformation, am I right? Oh shit, that title was used for someone else early on in my videos. Well, I think you just won it, Mr. NoobTubeGamer.
That PC gaming is a bigger market, and PC gamers are more skilled, and PC gaming is objectively superior. Because, as we know, Lord Gaben and all of his followers, they're the ones who determine the facts. And
why do I get the feeling that every single console fanboy is completely uneducated? I mean, don't they teach you how to research in school? I mean, even if they don't, they should, I mean, this should be second nature. If you go on and you read the articles, which I'm going to read his 5th article in a second, if you read the articles, you are going to learn. I mean, you can't just read the headlines or just skim over the top and say, boom, that's how, whatever. And also, whenever you provide something, you have to state why it's relevant. For example, why is it that the BF1 statistics mattered at all? Besides the fact that you made a stereotype that said that all PC gamers love Battlefield, when that's just not true.
the real facts don't matter. It's just whatever they deem fact worthy is what real facts are. Anyway, that's all I gotta say here. Again, I'm gonna link the articles.
Yeah. Okay, ending the video right now. I'm gonna go read his article. Be right back. Wow, that was a great read. I suggest anyone read it and I'll link it down in the description as well as all the links that Mr. NoobTubeGamer provided. But yeah, this made a really good read. I found a specific part of it that I think he was the most interested in, and, well, he didn't really read it. All he read was the headline in the thing, in the picture at the first that said most PC gamers only dream about 4K, as most PC gamer specs are lower than what you think. And that's all he read, and he ran with it with face value. But if you read here along with me, whenever a console versus PC debate comes up, there is a discussion, surrounding the cost of building a monster PC in order to play and enjoy games. Which, well, that's not really true. You don't need a monster PC rig to even enjoy games. I mean, I enjoy games. I have a shitty Dell Inspiron 3737 laptop pre-build, and I love Starbound. That's one of my favorite games, especially Gmod. That I have 4,500 hours logged into that one. Again, I don't play very many modern games, so I don't need to fork over a lot of money just to play modern games when that's not really what I'm into. Of course, when I get more money, that's what I'm going to be into, but at the moment, I got a budget computer, and it works just fine for me. But again, to each their own. However, let's continue. However, the latest Steam hardware statistics show that the majority of PC gamers don't have a system capable of running any game at close to 4K resolution or even 1080p on high settings at a decent frames per second, or FPS. A lot of people don't want to play at 4K because it increases the amount of input lag, especially on 4K monitors. And again, you have to pay, a lot of money in order to play at 4K, and that's just not what people are willing to fork over, at least until the parts get cheaper and stuff. So again, it's not really a mandatory thing that people need to be playing at 4K. And you don't see console gamers playing at 4K. Hell, the Xbox Scorpio isn't going to even play games at 4K. I mean, Microsoft had to take down an advertisement for misleading reasons because it was true. Their game console, their Xbox One Scorpio, will not be able to play games at higher than 1080p. Perhaps even 1440p is the best they can come with, but it's probably not going to happen. Alright, let's continue. Now, there's bullet points here. It says RAM, CPU speed, and GPU as, practically the things that matter. However, RAM, and you'll see this in a little bit, 31.96% of Steam users have 8 gigabytes of RAM, which, by the way, is more than enough to play any modern game. Almost 30% has 4 gigabytes, which, again, is fine, and 8 gigabytes of RAM, or between that amount. And then only 15.83% of Steam users have more than 12 gigabytes of RAM. Now, let me tell you why RAM isn't important in gaming, particularly. It's because RAM, more than 8 gigabytes of it is not necessary. After 8 gigabytes, it becomes something of a workstation. So if you have 12 gigabytes of RAM, that means you can render videos easier, you can you can increase efficiency in download times or upload times, or streaming quality could get better, etc. But if all you want to do is play video games, even 6 gigabytes of RAM is enough. RAM is not an important factor in gaming. It's an important factor in data processing, it's an important factor in rendering, it's an important factor in practically any use of the workstation, for example, Photoshop or Eclipse or any other internal development environment like coding environments. But other than that, RAM is practically pointless after 8 gigabytes, because 8 gigabytes is really the standard nowadays. Anyway, CPU speed, and this is a little bit more important. 21.47% of Steam users has a 2.6 GHz to 2.69 GHz CPU, which again is kind of irrelevant because it doesn't provide the generation of the CPU, because a 2.3 quad-core gigahertz CPU could be better than a 2.3 dual-core gigahertz CPU. So again, they need to really specify in order to make this the most accurate. However, let's continue. While almost 28% have a CPU above or between 3 GHz and 3.69 GHz, which again, without the model, without the amount of cores, is worthless information. Let's see, 2.0, they say only again, as if, whatever. Only 2.47% of users have a CPU clock, or with a clock speed of 3.7 gigahertz and above, which is fantastic. But again, that's not something everyone has on their mind. Not everyone wants to do ultra at, 4K or even 1440p. That's just something to shoot for if you really, really enjoy playing video games. But then they go over on GPU, and it says, quote, although specific GPUs used aren't listed, which, by the way, is it's an incredible, proverbial red flag. Video RAM, or VRAM, is a good indication of how high of a resolution a PC can run. While, yes, that can be used as a counter, it's not the only thing to take in mind. For example, teraflops is another thing to take into consideration. Something with a really high VRAM with very low teraflops is not going to be doing very much. They work hand in hand. there's a lot of things to consider when you're using GPUs, especially, power supply, how good is your wattage, things like that. Further, most recently released gaming GPUs have a minimum of 2 gigabytes of VRAM, which obviously is the standard by now. It's practically enough to run any game at medium settings to high settings at 60 FPS, 1080p, or 720p if that's what you want. According to the hardware statistics, 33.43% of Steam users have a GPU with only 1 gigabyte of VRAM, and 23.12% that has 2. Now, doing a little bit of math, that's 66.55% of PC gamers, of course, that use Steam, and that have opted in to be in the Steam survey, the Steam hardware survey. Okay, so that's a majority of PC gamers. A majority of PC gamers can run their games at steady 60 FPS, medium to high graphics settings. Again, that's just based off of VRAM. We know nothing about the teraflops used. Of course, that may be a little consideration, but still a consideration nonetheless. It says here at the top end of the spectrum, roughly 10% of Steam users have more than 2 gigabytes of VRAM, which again is great. That's able to run 60 FPS or more at Ultra, or perhaps at 1440p. So, that's a lot you can do with more than 2 gigabytes of VRAM. But that still leaves about 33.45% of players that aren't accounted for, that have less than 1 gigabyte of VRAM. But a lot of games only need 500 megabytes of VRAM, or 750 megabytes of VRAM. So, still, you don't have to go super expensive to have a nice gaming experience. And really, it doesn't matter what other gamers have as their specs, because they enjoy what they want to enjoy, right? Okay, so as you can see at the bottom here, they just go over some games require more than 2 gigabytes of VRAM to maintain a smooth FPS, etc., etc. Goes over some background information, etc. Although what really irritates me is they tried to use RAM as a consideration of FPS. Like, look at this. In the second to last paragraph, it says, although the top percentage of RAM is enough to run most modern games at maximum settings, yeah, 8 gigabytes is fine, alright? Just so you all know, 8 gigabytes can run game. It's not a determining factor. If you have a good GPU, if you have a good CPU, 8 gigabytes is totally fine. And in fact, going from 8 to 16 gigabytes will give you, 3 to 4 frames in performance. 3 to 4 frames. Switching from 2 gigabytes to 8 gigabytes will obviously be a performance boost, but after that, again, it's irrelevant. So just keep that in mind. Hey, but you want to know where the kicker is? And this is for Mr. NoobTubeGamer too. He didn't read this article, because if he looked, then it would say, in the first part of this article, I talked about the massive increase in concurrent Steam users, which he did. Most of these users do not own a PC that would be considered even close to a monster PC, which they don't need, but they still enjoy their games by using either more affordable or older hardware, which is correct. If there is anything you should take away from these statistics, Mr. NoobTubeGamer, it is that you don't need to have a top-of-the-line PC, or run every game at maximum settings, or fork over an excessive amount of money to enjoy PC gaming. That was the point of this article. The section of the article. That was the point of these hardware statistics, alright? The fact that you don't even consider that lower resolution games and older games and CSGO and Dota 2 and all these different other games can be played with people that don't have that great of a processor or that great of a GPU. In fact, people are still rocking the 770. And they're still getting huge performance on older games, and especially some modern games at low settings. Still, the fact that you didn't catch this, the fact that you didn't read through this entire article like an educated human being, like an educated debater, the fact that you didn't, again, proverbial red flags. You just read the article and ran with it. You didn't even read the article. You didn't even read how the Steam sale mystery remains unsolved, or even this. This is the most important piece of the article, as you pointed out. You just took the headline and you ran with it. This makes you completely stupid, alright? You are not a productive debater. You do not go through your evidence. You do not do anything productive when you debate. You just take the headline and think that's evidence enough. I mean, you didn't even provide any percentages. Alright? You even provided the Steam hardware and software survey, which, again, I've went over, and it proves nothing. All it shows is a lot more people, and especially if you look at the growth rates, a lot more people are using more advanced GPUs, more advanced CPUs. It's growing. The PC community, the PC market is growing, okay? The advancement of technology is also growing. The PC is also getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper every single day. I mean, you can take a 770 and put it into your old desktop lying around somewhere, and it's instantly transformed into a gaming PC that you can use. Of course, it's not going to be the best, but of course you don't need to fork over an excessive amount of money to enjoy PC gaming, as this article says. You can enjoy games like Dota 2, or CSGO, or Call of Duty if you're interested, or low resolution and low graphics of Battlefield if you can. Like Battlefield 2 runs, well, it runs 30 FPS on my computer, but I don't have a GPU. If I had a GPU, it would probably run 45, 50 or so. But again, you don't need to spend a ton of money on PC parts. And your entire point to bring up this article was just to say, well, people don't have monster PCs like they're expected to. I mean, you make it seem as if they're expected to have a monster PC before they can even begin to talk about the benefits and the facts of PC. I mean, come on, Mr. NoobTubeGamer, do your research. And it's not just about doing your research, it's about actually doing your research, okay? Think about the statistics. Question the bias in the media. Question the date. Question the amount of comments. Don't edit that shit out, because that's relevant. You need to use your mind when you're researching. And if you can't, then obviously doing this kind of thing isn't for you. So, TLDR, Mr. NoobTubeGamer did not do his research. He completely missed a line that completely contradicts the entire premise of his argument, that only people who have monster PCs have bragging rights to console gamers, which is ridiculous, alright? The fact that he even insinuated that a majority of PC gamers don't have the necessary parts to run modern games, well, that was just outright false. Nothing surprising, of course. This just goes to show the importance of research. This just goes to show how important it is to read the articles instead of looking at the headlines and taking it with face value. Again, that's nothing new from Mr. NoobTubeGamer at this point in time. Now, I really hope Mr. NoobTubeGamer comes around and finds this video which he dared me to make. And I really hope that he apologizes that I didn't have enough time due to this video to make a Sierra Era video, which, to be honest, I'm not going to probably make because, he doesn't have a video just with his opinions in it, and it's not attacking anybody and whatever, and I don't want to be a defensive fanboy of a channel, whatever. In any event, this is GamerZ. Sorry for the hour of a video, but I hope it was worth it. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope I'll see you next time. Thanks for 50 subs. Goodbye.